Good morning. It is 10:02 a.m. on Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. Call this meeting of the Wichita County Commissioners Court to order. If everyone would please stand, Commissioner Mahler will give our invocation.
Good morning, and pray with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today in the season of Lent to celebrate. And when I say celebrate, that's a strange word when we talk about what's going to happen over the next few days. But celebrate it is, as your Son, Jesus Christ, is sitting at the throne with you and gives us the chance to have everlasting life. So yes, it is a celebration. Lord, we are so grateful this morning to live in this country, the greatest country on the face of the earth. It has been and it will be as long as we stay faithful. Lord, we thank you for the people that are here to defend it, the military, our first responders. We thank you for our veterans that are in the house this morning and the job that they've done in telling the story of the heroes that they represent. Lord, we thank you for the historians here with us this morning that are preserving our history, because we have a rich and great history, and it needs to be documented, and it needs to be shown to the next generations, because there's wisdom in our history. There's wisdom in the way this country was put together, and we just thank you for those people that work on that. Lord, thank you for all the blessings you send upon us. Thank you for the many blessings that you will send in the future. We just ask that you bless each and every family represented here this morning, and bless this county, this state, and this great country of the USA. These things we ask in the name of your precious Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Please join us for the pledge to the U.S. flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the pledge to the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you very much. Everyone may be seated. All right. We can go a little bit out of order since they're already up here. I invite a presentation by Joel Jimenez, Commander of Chapter 41, DAV.
Thank you, Judge. Anyway, we're Chapter 41, Jeremy Skelton, Robert French, Perfecto Celia, and throughout the years and past commissioners and past judges, our DAV, our transportation program, has been one of the elements that we have very prospered as veterans to serve the community, to serve North Texas, and so forth. And a lot of people on the outside don't know how this comes about. Your county constituents pertaining to commissioners and the county judge, that they throughout the years have gave us funds through the help of y'all to buy and to transport veterans by the transportation van. And I think at this time, we at Chapter 41 can assure that in about the next 8 months, we will get that new van in application again like before. And you know, COVID was something that just caused this nation to slow down, including us. So now we can we're going to be striving to get the new van again and get it going so we can serve these veterans and your people, your families, and so forth, that the veterans that are so deserving. And at this time, we'd like to just give you a little thank you and a little award, a little blank, however you want to call it, from the dedication of the veterans from this community. We're going to give y'all a little token of our appreciation.
You're making our civil attorney nervous. He's thinking, what's the value?
Yeah. and at this time, go ahead on that way. We wanted the whole judges here, but go ahead and just present it that way. They'll know that. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you very much, sir.
And y'all can open it, and
Thank you.
nothing's going to fly out.
Thank you very much.
And then we'll.
Oh, wow.
I did that on purpose.
Oh, wow.
I did that on purpose.
That's beautiful.
And then we'll just take one picture, and if you could hold it up whenever. Isn't that nice?
It is beautiful.
Beautiful.
What is it?
What is?
Sorry, you don't get to know.
It's a paper.
Okay, I'm going to present Present Arms, so we can put that in our national magazine.
Sure.
So Present Arms. And then you can take a
Incredible.
picture of us here, ma'am. Can you get a still picture of that, Jim? Okay.
I'm not sure who we're supposed to be looking at, but I looked at everybody.
And thank y'all so very much. I mean, y'all been so, yeah. One more, Robert.
Robert, back up. Supposed to get one more picture.
Present Arms. Present Arms.
It's just of them.
Okay.
And I do have one question before you all
Go
sit
ahead.
down. So, Joelle, if veterans want to take advantage of the transport service, how do they contact and
Well, what
ask?
we're gonna do, we're gonna go on state and community and city TV, and we're gonna give that information out like we did before. Like, we're gonna need volunteer drivers, and when we come out and we have the van like we did last time, you remember, Commissioner
You bet,
Walker?
you bet.
We'll do a photo op outside this courthouse, and we say, look, all veterans that need a ride, very simple, call this number, and it's a DAV number, and we'll get you transported to Lawton or Oklahoma City and some of these area clinics and so forth. But that'll all be public information, and we'll announce that here at the Commissioner's Court and so forth.
Commander, how you doing on drivers?
Well, that's a essential thing. We're gonna promote a bunch of volunteerism. We do need drivers, but I don't wanna do it right now because you remember,
Yeah.
like y'all operate, a bird in hand is better than two in the bush. Until I get the van here,
Gotcha.
Gotcha. Well, remind me,
All right.
I got you one. That'd be a good one.
good, thank you
When
so
the time
much.
comes.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you. It's always
Thank you all.
Yes, sir.
Retired police and retired, and he'd be just perfect. And he could take
James?
services while he's up there. He and I talked about it. Good guy.
All right, at this time, I'd like to invite folks from the Wichita County Historical Commission to come up for the presentation of their yearly report. It looks like Ms. Trammell's going to be doing the report this year. You've been busy.
It's me again. First of all, thanks to the Commissioners Court for letting us come and talk about the Historical Commission. We are under your auspices, and we appreciate the help and assistance that y'all provide us in so many ways. Before I get into my report specific, I want to call out some names from members of the Historical Commission who make us happen. Number one of all is Carol Rudd, who is our Chief Archivist at the Wichita County Archives. Carol is a worker deluxe. She has helped so many people, but me being one of them. I'll call and say, Carol, I need something about fill in the blank, and Carol will find me something to fill in that blank. So Carol is wonderful. We are so pleased and proud to have her. Another person who is not here this morning is John Yates. John is our digital guru. He has digitized and made videos for us, and we are so proud and pleased that he is one of ours. I want to also mention the other guy sitting back there, Robert Palmer, who has been our chair. Robert is our leader, and we keep going and keep doing the job that we are supposed to be doing. I also would like to thank Elizabeth Hawley. Elizabeth and I have been cohorts on a couple of books, and we're working on a third right now. Elizabeth is always there whenever she's called, ready to go to work. I would also like to thank Judge Johnson for coming to the 25th anniversary of the museum last week. We very much appreciate your kind words, particularly your encouragement of people to learn the history of this place. I want to also thank the commissioners who came to the dedication of our Sputter Park marker. Appreciate that so much. I wasn't there. I was where it was warmer. Y'all were out there on a very cold, windy day. Appreciate very much y'all coming. That's one of the markers that we really are glad to have. Glad to have that one.
If I can interrupt, Becky, I'd like to introduce Doug James.
Oh, Doug James, y'all all know
He's our
him.
program chairman.
He's our program
And,
chairman.
He provides us with some wonderful, wonderful programs. Just had one that featured Barry and myself and, from Midwestern. And Becky Trammell. Let me tell you who Becky is. I mean, most of y'all know, but Becky her official title is marker chairman. Now, that's just one of the many things she does. She fills in at the Museum of North Texas History. She sets up our newsletter and gets it ready every month. And she just does a variety of things. The energy she's got among all her trips she takes is absolutely amazing. And we truly appreciate the work that Becky does.
Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. Speaking of markers, we are currently in our spring marker cycle, and we, as of today, have 8 marker applications that we will be submitting to the Texas Historical Commission. One of them I'll be coming back to talk about a little later. Concerning the Historical Commission per se, every year we are required to submit a report to the Texas Historical Commission detailing just what did we do during the year. We have 29 members, and those 29 members, I have to get closer here, put in 5,363 volunteer hours. Not all of those members are exceedingly active. We have a number of members who are terribly active. So we very much appreciate those people who give us their time and their effort, and it shows by some of the things that we've been able to do. Our projects this year, we've had 2 that were really interesting projects that we were partnering with other entities in the community. One of which Carol has really been a major part of is with the Mass Communication Department out at Midwestern. In the senior Mass Communication Department, your senior year, you're required to do a 13 to 18-minute video about the area. And 3 of those videos in the past few years have been about Wichita County history, Wichita County actions. And Carol has worked very closely with these students to make these videos, which are now available on YouTube. The videos, of which Commissioner Mahler was involved in one of them.
And they're very well done.
They are very well done.
Well
These are student videos. One is called A Life Out of Reach. The other is A Greater Good. And the final, which I think you were involved in, is called Disgrace to Embrace. Like I said, they are all on YouTube. They're student videos. The archives was one of their major, research location for these videos. So really like having students come in, like seeing them excited about the history of the area. So we're really happy about that. Also, this is, again, I'm giving a call out to John Yates. For the 25th anniversary of the museum, we put together a founder's video. March of 2000, a group of people came together and officially signed their name to "We're going to have a museum in Wichita Falls." Sadly, many of those people have passed on. We were able to get some of those people together and have them talk about the museum and talk about those people that were involved, the energy that was involved, and how they came to be there and how the museum came to be. Douglas James was one of those people that we interviewed. Woody Gossam was one of the people that we interviewed, Bill Presson. And it was very fun to do that and very interesting to hear about how a small group of dedicated, energetic people made a museum happen. And we did that within the archives. So we've been doing some things that are kind of, we're not just sitting and reading books all that time. We're doing things out in the community and trying to let people know what we're doing. That is basically my report. If y'all have any questions, I'd be more than willing to answer. Gosh, I left you speechless.
Yeah.
Speechless. Thank you.
We'll save all of our questions to the next time.
Oh, no. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky.
Let me add something. The Museum of North Texas History was started by the Historical Commission. And in other words, the Historical Commission started the museum. And that's the Historical Commission's y'all's responsible.
Yeah.
Let me mention one other thing. We also are doing, we call it our 100th anniversary project. But the early 1920s was the time when a lot of organizations and institutions and churches began. And so what we've done is we have gone out, and Becky did one, I've done several, and where we've recognized people that are celebrating their 100th anniversary. The Women's Forum is actually doing it this summer. We recognize the 23 Study Club in Iowa Park. We recognize the Tom Burnett Library in Iowa Park. The Burke-Burnett High School, Pilgrim's Rest Baptist Church. And what we do, we go out and we give them a framed and matted memento of their 100th anniversary and congratulate them on serving the community in Wichita County for 100 years. It's been a good project.
Excellent. Thank you all. Okay. It is currently 10:17. We will open up for public comments. We remind everyone to keep comments limited to 5 minutes or less. No action can be taken on public comment. I think this is the first time Doug has ever come in this courtroom and hasn't given us a hard time about giving them the building.
He already
He already did it? Okay, good.
This Friday, we are opening the 30th District Court at 1 o'clock. So my historical people, they should be here for that. So it's going to be a good day. A lot of work and effort from a lot of people went into making that courtroom a special place with a nod to our past. So we're very excited about opening it and showing it off to the public finally on Friday.
Just show up at 1 o'clock.
Show up at 1 o'clock.
Okay. Any other public comments this morning? Okay. It is 10:19 and public comment is closed. That moves us to the consent agenda. There are 6 items on the consent agenda. Does anyone have any questions or comments on any of the items?
I do have one quick question. Jeff, on the item number 6, is that first thing, is that a road claimer? Is that a
Yes.
reclaimer?
Reclaimer, the water truck, and a pad foot roller.
Okay. And the reason I bring this up now, that's praying out of precinct 4. If we end up wanting to use that for a half a day in precinct 2,
Yeah, we can just bill it accordingly.
reimburse precinct 4 for it or whatever that
Right,
might be.
I'm assuming that.
Yeah, we're gonna use it a few days, couple days. We've got some smaller projects to do.
So we can just, you're renting the stuff, and
Yeah,
if we need to use it, we can just
yeah, we
I
pay
can,
it. Pay it.
yeah.
Guys
The
training
same
on
as-
it today, where they'll be ready to go. We'd like to have
Yeah,
several
if it-
operators. Like
Yeah,
my guys
and
are
we're
there.
think Jimmy's gonna, when it shows up, try to get somebody from y'all to
Yeah,
come over to.
I've got 2 guys that'll be on it today,
Okay.
showing everybody how to operate it. Okay, that's all I had on it.
Is item number 3 specifically metal, or is that all culverts? Because we're using
Plastic.
plastic.
It's metal and plastic.
Okay, well, it says metal, I want to make sure, because we're using
Right,
more than one.
yeah,
plastic
she did,
culvert.
Tanya
Change
did a
that
good,
to just
Tanya
culverts.
did a good job on those.
Can we amend that
Then
one?
that, item 3,
Sure.
just plain culverts.
Culverts.
Okay, so that's distinguished between the two.
Just
Say
take
that
bids.
again,
We'll
Tanya.
take bids on metal and plastic.
Okay.
Yeah, you have them in there.
Or if you wanna just put metal and plastic, I mean,
Yeah,
That's
either way.
why-
they're different suppliers, but I think we need
Yeah, I
to
can make
amend that.
those adjustments because it won't be posted on the website until Thursday.
Mickey, did you give her that, new group we've learned about?
On the culverts? No,
Yeah.
I didn't. I need to. There's another contractor,
Okay, good.
that's,
You want to
Worth-
email me
worth-
that
yeah,
information?
I'll try to get that
after-
to you today.
Or I can reach out to you and get it.
okay.
Okay.
The notice just says culverts, so we'll just change the motion to advertise for bids for culverts.
With that amendment, so moved. Motion approved.
Second.
We've got a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended by Commissioner Fincannon, seconded by Commissioner Beecham. Do we have any questions or comments on the motion or the items? Okay, that motion's before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. General business item number 1. actually, I'm gonna change things around to get so Becky can do her presentation first. We're gonna do general business item number 3. Discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve the issuance of a $100 check to the Texas Historical Commission for the sponsorship fee of a historical marker at the Wichita County Farm to be paid from lines determined by the county auditor. Becky, you want to present on that?
I believe all the commissioners got a copy of the narrative for the marker application. Not many people know that Wichita County had a poor farm that existed for nearly 70 years, starting in 1912. It existed around the area where I think most people know where the county cemetery is. If you can imagine the line between Armory Road and I can't remember the other cross street out there, and Henry Grace Freeway, that whole area was the county farm. They farmed, literally farmed. They at one time had a cannery. They got equipment from the National Recovery Administration. They canned their own food. The people who were, and they used the term at the time, inmates of the farm, worked the farm, and it was a poor farm. If you were found in Wichita Falls and you were indigent, that's where you were taken. It also became the place where there was a, and then to use their term again, pest house that was used during tuberculosis. It was also used during World War II for, and I will say this delicately, for ladies of easy virtue who were said to be disease-ridden. They were taken there as well. There were as many as 7 to 8 houses out there, plus barns and related facilities. If you had a chance to read the narrative, you'll see that for the majority of the time that the farm existed, it was supervised by one family, the Jernigan family. There was a man named Irving who had it, who supervised for a couple of years, and then the Jernigans did it. The father Jernigan, the son Jernigan, and the last superintendent of the facility was the wife of the son, Mrs. Mildred Jernigan, who left the house in 1989. Significant damage occurred to those buildings during the '79 tornado, and the buildings were all taken down and burned for fire department training. Now, what remains out there is the cemetery. Was started in the 30s. The 2 local funeral homes would trade back and forth. It's your year to do the indigent burials. And indigent burials are still taking place there today. Commissioner Beecham had approached me that he has a plan to do you want to talk about this? You could talk about it better than I can about.
Reconfigure the driveway, make it come in off of Pengrass Grace.
And do a gate,
Yeah.
and hopefully if our marker is approved, the marker would go by that gate. There are a number of historical markers noting county farms across the state of Texas. Not many people know there was even one in Wichita Falls. I didn't really know until a few years ago when I think Mrs. Jernigan passed away. And there was some talk about it then. Other than that, I never knew about it. Any questions that you have? The marker process, you start out with a $100 non-refundable application fee. If you are approved, which we will find out approval later in the summer, then you are required, and it went up this last year, $2,400. That is the cost of a marker right now. I think when they started out, they were $300. It is now $2,400 for a marker.
Because the Historical Commission built those markers and.
Well, it's you have to go through the Historical Commission. They contract with a provider who, for some reason, is in Indiana. Indiana, until pre-COVID, right before COVID, it was Smith something, had been the only foundry that had made historical markers in the state of Texas. They went out of business. They did an open bidding, and they come from Indiana.
Well, it's a story that's very fascinating to read. It's a story that we need to tell, and so our future generations don't lose sight of what actually the county cemetery property is and was.
Yes.
So I would make that motion to approve.
Second.
And I appreciate your narrative. You put a lot of work into that, and it's just the narrative alone is fascinating to read. So
Thank you.
It was a time in our society where services that we take for granted today were not available.
They weren't. They weren't. And
They just
it was
weren't
in
there.
the, I think, the late 1800s, in the Texas Constitution, it mandated that the counties care. And I'm not using the words they use, but it mandated that the counties care for those people. And, you know, we're talking about 1912 when it started. There was no Social Security. There was nothing. There were some, charitable organizations, but not like we have today. If someone had a significant problem, the family took care of it, or the person was on the street and indigent.
so
I vaguely remember as a young child, being as old as I am, that thing being active still, and that would have been in the, late 50s?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was,
late 50s.
they had, I think in the 70s, they still had 40 people.
Wow.
When they finally closed, there were 2 people there that were in their, 70s or 80s. And most of what Mrs. Jernigan describes is she worked with getting these people services, getting them on Medicare, Medicaid, whatever, and getting them into local nursing homes.
so
I had some cousins that lived not far from there and remember driving by there, and it was active. And I don't remember much about it, and I wish I'd paid more attention.
Don't we all?
Don't we
when
all?
we think
That's
about
right.
those things. They had cattle, they had pigs, they had chickens.
Self-sustaining.
They were self-sustaining. What they grew fed the inmates that were housed in the jail.
and
So
fed commissioners
it
on
gave
Friday
back to the
afternoons.
county.
So, and fed commissioners on Friday afternoons into the 70s, every Friday
really?
afternoon.
I didn't know
Commissioners would
that.
meet for lunch out there.
I didn't know that.
So, when you start that again?
Yeah.
We like to eat, so.
There are some things when you read about what they did out there, they were very good, very
Yeah.
good.
Oh, the cannery was
The
just
I
to
couldn't
read
believe
about
that they canned everything. Meat. They canned meat. So it was quite an operation in its time.
Becky, thank you for the work on this and the broader work. None of us, I think sometimes we forget that we're not just delivered into institutions and into culture and into places that are just in a vacuum. They just were created out of nothing. They came from somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's important to know that history so that you know where you're going.
I think if you don't have a foundation in history, if you're not rooted, you're lost.
Yeah.
You are lost. And I will tell you one more thing, and I'll get out of here. I just wrote the most amazing marker application for Hector Basie. Nobody knows Hector Basie. Nobody's heard of Hector Basie. Hector Basie's buried out in Riverside Cemetery. He was an African-American cowboy and truly lived a cowboy's life. And it is such an interesting story that nobody knows. Hopefully, we'll get his story known.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
So we've got a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Mahler, to approve the issuance of a $100 check to the Texas Historical Commission to be paid from contingencies, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Yeah, to be paid from 409 with lines determined by the county auditor. Let's see. Do we have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. All right, now back to general.
Mark?
Yep.
When are you gonna get me the check? As soon as you get me the check.
Yeah, it will make the,
We can get it online. Everything has to go in online nowadays. You can't just mail stuff in.
It's in the mail.
Call me.
okay.
In the mail. In the mail from the county. Wait a minute.
Can we do a wire transfer instead of the check?
There'll be a time
You'd
when
have to
we'll
deal with
have
the historical commission.
marker for the mail.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's either check or credit
I
card.
think we'll
Check or
get
credit
those.
card? Probably credit card would be easier.
Well, then, if you're gonna do that, you take care of that, but I need a copy of that form signed that you did that.
Y'all should visit after
Oh,
court
yep.
and we can take care of it.
All right, perfect.
Be in contact with me. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
General business item number 1 is review and approve the regular bills for payment verify payroll taxes have been filed, and order county treasurer to disperse payroll and/or bills within 72 hours via U.S. mail, FedEx, UPS, or electronically unless directed otherwise, or may be picked up and ledgered in the treasurer's office.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Fincannon, seconded by Commissioner Mahler to approve, verify, and disperse. Do you have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, that motion's before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 2, discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve and ratify the minutes of the March 18, 2025 regular session and the March 21, 2025 special session.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I was waiting.
Yeah, I know. We've got a motion by Commissioner Fincannon, seconded by Commissioner Beecham to approve and ratify the minutes of both sessions. Do we have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? That motion's before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Both items 4 and 5, our treasurer had a family medical issue to take care of this morning and couldn't be here. Is there any objection to tabling these and moving them to next Tuesday, April 1st?
No.
With no objection, both items 4 and 5 are tabled to be put back on the agenda on April 1st. All right, item number 6, discuss, consider, and/or take action to replace the old worn swivel bases on the refinished 30th courtroom jury chairs. Commissioner Beecham or Ricky, I'm not sure who's
We'll let
willing to
Ricky
speak on
handle this one. So.
Come on down.
So, once we got the jury chairs resurfaced, the gentleman, it was an inmate work crew, did all the sanding and everything, and we got them stained and we got them back. We learned that the years of use on those swivels, all metal, were just worn to a point where they were really, they're usable, but if you're in one of those chairs, it's, you know, you can really get around. And maybe on the ground, who knows? But anyway, so we were looking at trying to repair some of them, and just the way, the damage that they've suffered over all the years, it just really wasn't practical. So we did, I found a company that actually builds chairs, and so I said, well, I don't need chairs, but can I get swivels? And sent them my dimensions of what I was working with, and they sent us back what they could do for us in the means of swivels to replace those. So I was hoping to get those maybe quickly this week, possibly for some of the chairs, but I don't know if I'm going to get them. But anyway, the purchase price is more than I could approve. So I brought it here to get approval from the court.
So, Ricky, the invoice has, the total's $54.69, but it also has a payment of $31.90.25. Can you, what is that?
So we had 7 chairs, the front chairs, that have needed repair immediately. I mean, the others, we could use some of those chairs. I'm not saying they're totally unusable, but in order for them to all look the same, we'd replace all the swivels. But there were 7 that we identified that were just really in bad shape. So our intention was to start with that, and then we decided, well, if we're gonna start with that, we might as well do them all. And so that's where the other came in.
So those 7 have already been paid for. Okay, so
Purchased,
what we
yes.
would be approving would be the
So
remaining
we're approving
5.
the additional repair for the rest of the chairs.
Okay.
Which would take us over the purchase.
Yeah, which takes
amount.
us over to
Right.
5,000 amount.
That's
Okay.
motion to approve.
Second.
Matt, what department do those need to come
I
from?
would think we need to do it out of the general fund since it's not a part of the permanent improvement.
Out of contingencies?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is it not permanent improvement?
No, just because it's furniture,
Yeah.
it could be replaced. It's not a permanent fixture.
All right, we've got a motion by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Mahler to approve the replacing of the remaining swivel bases on the 30th courtroom jury chairs for an amount of $2,278.75 to be paid for out of 409, with lines determined by the county auditor. Do you have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? Okay, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. That brings us to item number 7, which is receive update on courthouse renovations and county courthouse annexes. Commissioner Beecham.
Glass was put in this morning. That's the last and remaining thing that needed to be done. So 30th district is great.
With 2 days to spare.
2 days to spare. Still doing a few punch list items here and there on the courthouse. I think the annex is pretty much done. We need to do a final walk on it. Iowa Park was out there a couple of times last week. Everything's looking good. So made some final finish selections this week and last week. So everything's looking up.
Okay.
It's going to get boring.
Maybe be able to take that item off here in a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, any questions? Okay. It is currently 10:38. At this time, Commissioners Court will go into closed session for 2 items. Discussions regarding the installation of external and internal security devices at the courthouse and annex. This meeting is closed pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.089, deliberations about security devices. And item 2, discussions with the Wichita County Sheriff's Office regarding the duress system for the LEC that was purchased in 2022. This meeting is also closed pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.089, deliberations about security devices. This time, unless you've been authorized to remain in the room, ask that you vacate for closed session.
I would like Rick to remain.
All right. Approve the Digis Security Systems quote of $698,492.04 to be paid $485,383.60 from the Courthouse Security Fund and $213,108.44 out of general contingencies. Also move that we amend the 2025 budget to reflect expenses up to $485,383.60 out of the Courthouse Security Fund.
With lines to be determined by the.
With lines to be determined by the county auditor.
Yeah, we'll second that, and with the understanding that courthouse security fund is not from taxpayer dollars, or, well, from taxpayer, but it's not tax dollars that's going into that, it's from
It's
fees
fees,
collected.
basically, isn't it?
So, for this purpose,
Yeah.
and that's the only thing it can be used for is courthouse security issues, so.
Okay. I have made that motion. Commissioner Beecham has seconded it. Do we have any questions or comments on the motion or the item?
Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to make sure I understand. So this is not coming out of 562?
Correct.
Okay. So I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, we can put it there if you want.
Yeah, if you would like to, you can.
That's okay.
Any other questions or comments? All right, that motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 2 is take action as necessary on closed session items. Don't believe any further action needs to be taken at this time. Okay. Well, with that, it is 11:24 and court is adjourned.